Hello, this is Ransom1690 back here with another video. And I've been trying to make some videos on other topics in the past, like, as in a couple of days ago, but they just hadn't been turning out right. So I don't know, y'all. It seems like when I'm just more fired up, my words tend to come out a lot smoother than if I'm calm. Like when I'm calm, I try to speak eloquently and make everything flow naturally, but I don't know. I just always have these instances where I'm just having long pauses, or just maybe some of my words don't come out right and I gotta think about what I say. But fortunately, I don't think is gonna be one of those videos, because I'm gonna get real fired up, I think, in this one, because I will be talking about how things were like when my biological dad was in the picture. Piece of shit. Yeah. Because for the good portion of when I was a child, I really don't remember much about him. The only instance where I really remember being around him was when he took me to McDonald's one day, and I couldn't put my finger on it way back then. I don't even remember how old I was. I was probably like 5 or 6 back then. But for whatever reason, the memory that sticks out about this guy is when we were at McDonald's and I was eating a burger sitting across from him. And I was afraid to be around him for some reason. And I would think about that, like, just when I got older. Like, why was I afraid to be next to this guy? I mean, we were just sitting in McDonald's eating a burger. Everything was good. But for whatever reason, it's like I was able to pick up that something wasn't right about this guy. And understandably so, because I wouldn't find out just how much of a massive piece of shit he was, well, until I turned 16. So before then, in between me being a child, I think 5 years old and all that shit, he wound up going to prison for reasons that I didn't know at the time. The only thing that he told us when we went to visit his ass was that he was set up, that he had supposedly given this guy a ride in his car, and they pulled up at a store and he went in, and unbeknownst to my dad, the dude was robbing the place. He said he didn't know. Yeah, sure you didn't. But he wound up going to prison. I forgot how long. I think it was 10 years. May have been a little bit more. I don't fucking remember. But he wound up going to prison for a good while. And he got out when I turned 16, I think. So around that time, It was 2009. And him and my mom, they were already divorced, but they were trying to reconcile, I guess you can say. So it would be a lot of times where we were bouncing from his apartment and he would come to, I guess, the house that we are staying out, that we're constantly still in now. And when he was around, it was not a happy experience. Like, a lot of the instances that I can recall is that I would get yelled at. I would just get yelled at. And it would be over bullshit reasons. Like, honestly, I wouldn't even know why. Because I would either be doing something casual, like playing a video game, or watching TV. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, I just remembered that shit, man. I would be doing something casual, like fucking watching TV, and I would get fussed at about it, man. Both my dad and my mom, they would fucking chew me out for being in the room too much, watching TV. I would actually get in fucking trouble for that shit. And it was fucking confusing to me. And just what they would do is they would make me feel like I was doing something wrong. Like I was just doing something entirely unacceptable and repulsive to them. Like they would make me feel at fault for whatever it was that I was getting yelled at for. And it was bullshit, like me being in the room too much watching TV. They would fuss at me. You in your room too much. You need to come out here and watch TV with the whole family. Like they would do bullshit, you know. They would tell me that I wasn't allowed to go to my room, even if I was fucking sleepy and just wanted to take a nap. They would do shit like forbade me from going to the bedroom. And I would have to stay in the living room. And when I would go to my room anyway, because I just wanted to fucking lay down, they would take the damn TV out of my room. And you know, talking about like a TV and shit, it doesn't sound like a big deal now, but I want y'all to know that as a early teenager, early to mid teenager with no autonomy, that is a big deal, because our family, at least my immediate family, they were not the active types. They weren't the type to do any kind of sports or outdoor activities or anything that was actually fun to do. Our entire source of entertainment was the damn television, and that's all we fucking did, you know. And so when they took the TV out, that basically meant you had nothing to fucking do, you know? You just had to sit up or look at the fucking wall or just go to sleep. That's basically it. Like, you were basically just left to stew in boredom, which, if you ask me, I think is a form of abuse, because neither of them would try to do anything to encourage any kind of positive activity. And I think one of the few times I did get out with my dad, he took me to a prostitute's house. That's what he fucking did, y'all. And so a good portion of my time being around him was getting fussed at for these non-existent problems like watching TV too much, even though that was the only fucking thing in the house to do, or staying on the video game too long. And then there were other times where it seemed like I was just getting bitched out just because I existed. I recall a time where my dad left his watch on the table, and I just went to the room to return it. But when I walked in the room, man, he started chewing my ass out. He started talking about something, and why you come up in here, man, me and your mom, man, we could have been up in here doing stuff. And I'm pretty sure y'all can figure out what he was fucking talking about. And he got mad at me because I went in there without knocking. But the thing is, at the time, before my mom got stupid and took all the fucking doors down, they actually had a lock on their door. So it's like, okay, if you wanted to have fun time and just have a little privacy, you could have easily just locked the fucking door, but they didn't. They left it cracked. So it's like, what the fuck? I only went in there to return a fucking watch, and I'm getting fussed at. And he asked me to do something really stupid that he knew there was no way in hell I was going to do. And he told me, man, okay, what if you just went up to some random house and walked your happy ass up in there unannounced? I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And he told me, okay, man, I want you to go next door and knock on the door, and if no one answers, I want you to walk your happy ass up in there. And I told him, no, I'm not doing that. Like, what? And my mom fucking chimed in, and she told me, you know, you're real good at talking up when it's to not do what you're told. So I'm like, I was thinking, dude, what the fuck, man? So did they actually expect me to go and do that? Like, what? And like, it was fucking crazy, and it was rough. And there was this one instance that I'll never forget, where my dad was in the kitchen fixing breakfast. Now, I don't know why. I still don't know why. But nothing had happened yet. No one had barely said 2 words to each other. But he was already pissed off. And I heard him talking, and he was talking about me. And he was telling me, like, man, if you know, you don't want to eat breakfast, you don't got to eat breakfast. I'm like, what? And so, like, I didn't do anything. And just the way he was acting, I just knew, like, something bad was about to happen. So when I went in the kitchen to eat, I simply asked to have bread with my meal because he made oatmeal and he made eggs. And I think he made like a side of sausage too. So that's why I asked for bread, because normally what we do, I don't know about other people, but like, you know, we like to take the egg and sausage and kind of make it into a sandwich. And that's what I wanted to do. So I just politely asked him, like, hey, can I get some bread? And he just immediately started going off. He started talking about, man, what are you talking about, man? You can mix all this stuff you already got on there. Like, what? What are you talking about? I'm like, what? Like, just started going off on me. And he asked me, do you want to eat? And I said no. And he like, well, okay, then go to your room. So I went to my room. And remember, before I go on, I'm gonna bring this up or just reiterate that other than watching television or playing the video game, we had no activity around the house. So both my mom and my dad knew that if they really wanted to get to me, if they really wanted to ruin my day, then all they needed to do was just take up my gaming and shit. So after he sent me to the room, he came in there like maybe I'm talking about 2 minutes later, he just came bursting through the door. Where them games? Where them games, yo? And I'm like, what? And I didn't say anything. And so he slapped me in the face and he started yelling louder, where the games, man? And I still didn't say anything. And so what he did was I was laying in the bed and this fucking piece of shit, this sewage piece of dog shit jumped on top of me and he started beating my ass, man. This grown ass fucking man. And he beat my ass. I mean, he was hitting me all in the face and he drew blood. He bloodied me up. I mean, damn, man. Ooh, fuck, man. So, after that, I told him where the games were, and he took that shit, and he locked it up in his room. But it didn't stop there. After he did that shit, he proceeded to call my granny, which was his mother. And you know, I really don't like my fucking granny either. I'm gonna say besides maybe my older bros and sis, I really don't fucking like no one else in the family. Like, you know, but just back on topic, he called Gran, like, you know, my granny on the phone. And I don't know what the fuck he told her, but he just came in the room and gave the phone to me with her on it. And she started chewing me out as well. And she started talking about like, why didn't you answer your daddy's question when he asked you? And I'm like, well, what do you mean? Because he's yelling. Like, I honestly don't remember what I said at the time, but I know I was just baffled that I was being asked that after I had basically been disciplined for no reason. And I think that's kind of what I said, like, Yo, he beat me up. Like, what? I wasn't even doing anything, and she proceeded to fucking gaslight me, and she told me, well, no, you did do something. You didn't answer his question. That's why you got beat up. I'm like, God, what? And I don't remember how the rest of that conversation went, but I just remember that it was bullshit. And it wasn't just me, but, he would also, I would see him beat my younger brother up. And there were a lot of instances where he was constantly arguing with my mom. And I think it was one instance where he pulled a wallboard knife out on her, and, I really don't fucking feel sorry for her about that for obvious reasons. I know it sounds terrible to say, but I mean, he was bad. He was not a good man. He was a terrible father and just a shitty human being in general. And just thinking about stuff like that made me realize that my childhood, or just my time with my parents, they were never good. They were never good. And I keep thinking about that because I catch myself going to the situations that I'm experiencing now with my mom and her fucked up antics. Like, what the fuck? Like, were things always this bad? Like, huh? And I look back on my childhood and all of the stuff that I'm telling y'all now, and I remember, like, yes, it was always this bad. But you see, what happened was my mom, she remarried to my stepdad. And another thing happened, which was around year 2011 was when she got saved. So I was still a Christian then, and I was indoctrinated because what we're taught is that, like, when you get saved and you become a Christian, you become a renewed person. Old things pass away, all things are made new. And so surely she had to have been a better person at this point. And when my stepdad came into the picture, there was an illusion of things being better, because that's when we started doing more outdoor activities, like going to, like, I guess, certain types of museums or going out to eat or shit. So things seemed like they were better than what they actually were for a time. And I fell into that delusion that everything was fine, not helped by how manipulative my mom was. And unfortunately, it wasn't until recently, like a couple of years recently, that I actually learned that no, things were not better. Just because we were doing external things, because the thing that mattered the most, the love, it was not there. And so that's another thing too. People will try to manipulate you and gaslight you and make you think that you're just overreacting when you act or behave a certain type of way, but the only reason you may act that way is because of the pain that you have experienced in life. And I wouldn't wish this on anyone, but it is what it is. So before this video cuts off, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I think this is gonna probably conclude it. And yeah, my family's a piece of shit, the bulk of them anyway. So I don't know who else in the comment section can relate to this, but yeah, this is why people like this, or just people at all, shouldn't have children. Because when people have children, you are bringing them into a world of suffering.